Did you know the average take home for a personal trainer is less than $47,000 per year? That's really not a whole lot better than minimum wage. Does personal training really make so little? In today's episode, we're covering that very topic on whether personal training and working in fitness is actually a profitable career. There are ways to do it, but it is a very challenging career. I'm joined by our co-hosts, Aaron Saltzman and Tyler Johnson, and we're going to be talking that very topic today. Tyler, Aaron, how the hell are you guys? It's been a couple weeks, feels like.
Things are great. Business is going well. Staying afloat through this new year. You know, you got all those new people driving into the gym. So a good profitable time right now, which is nice. But overall, staying healthy.
Love it. Cool.
Nice.
DJ?
Dude, this has been my first week at this new facility, and I've hustled every second of the day. I love it. I love it so much. The grind has just been so thrilling. So I'm excited.
Dude, how's it been going, man? I mean, overall, is it like some culture shock, or is it just like putting a glove on?
It's like moving from a third world country to Hawaii, and you're on like the North Shore in Oahu. Like, it is just like, it's a whole different level, and like the ball game is just like completely improved. We're talking like the best change in my life that I've ever done. It's like going from more closer to our experience. It's like going from somebody's garage gym that they kind of put together and maybe like it has some stains on the walls to going to Lifetime. You're probably going to like the equipment and the upgrade.
Stains on the walls, huh?
I know. I got questions. Like, how did we get stains on the walls? Where have you been that you've seen stains on the walls?
Dude, that was the last club. That was the Bay Club over in Marin. Like, I'm not the only person that complains about it. It's like so many of the members and everything, and they pay this high premium fee to be there, and everybody just complains because the place is dirty. Nobody cleans equipment. It's like,
I've definitely worked in my share of gyms like that. It's pretty fucking disgusting.
Yep.
If you're gonna have a gym, I mean, make sure you guys really take care of that stuff, because that is a turnoff.
yeah,
It's
they
so
literally
simple. It's such an easy thing to do as a gym owner and a practitioner in terms of a value add you can give to your members is just keep your place clean. It's just keep up with it. That's all you have to do.
They have 3 full-time cleaning employees, like meaning like they're just their only focus beyond like not doing the front desk people and like, hey, front desk and stressing them out. They have dedicated roles for people that are like, hey, they're on coffee. These guys do clean up. They have hours scheduled where they are doing deep clean on all the equipment every single day. Like, it's like
Mind blown.
business run. Yeah.
I like it, man. I believe that that's probably something most gyms should have if they can afford it, having a dedicated cleaning staff. But I've always been a fan of the marriage of a dedicated cleaning staff with having staff on the floor, having dedicated cleaning as well. Similar to what we did over at Lifetime, but probably better execution would probably be a better way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude,
Aaron,
I
how
already
do you keep your gym clean?
I actually have a trade-off with a client. So they run a cleaning business, and so that's kind of how I do a lot of things at my gym. Is there's trade-off between coaching and, you know, whatever sources of things I need, because I know that these people actually have a passion for our gym. And so what better people to be working in the gym than people that actually care about the facility and actually working out in the gym, right? So I try to tend to keep everything in-house and, you know, become very close with the people that I coach.
Now, Tyler, do you feel that Aaron probably accepts tamales in the form of payment for personal training? I feel like he does.
Dude, 100%. I mean, they probably have a taco truck affiliation with
So-
just the guys from the taco truck.
I
just
know we're talking about getting paid as coaches, but shit, man, if somebody's going to be paying me in tamales, I will make
I'm okay
that
with
change.
it.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, I'm good.
As long as they're authentic. I mean, they got to be real, you know, straight from the Mexican border tamales.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not the guy who's literally got the tamale cart rolling down the street who's yelling at the top of his lungs, tamales!
Yeah,
Then I don't want it.
Exactly.
If I hear someone going down the street, Ventura Boulevard, going, tamales! I'm not
Now,
buying tamales from him, man.
Dude,
Now,
we had a guy in Sonoma who did that, my hometown. This dude, he was like very well known.
But
and his wife would make these tamales, and they were phenomenal. That's
but
why I got them.
let's jump back on topic. So if we're talking about money that people make, are personal trainers making even enough money to buy their own tamales? So let's break open to what personal trainers make, how to make more, and is it worth it?
Good
Appreciate you, Aaron.
transition.
I know. That was what we call a cold transition.
That was a hard transition. We were diving
that's,
into diving
You
into
take
some
your
random
dates home
shit.
before the first drink, don't you? I got you.
We're gonna meet at my
seriously,
house.
that is a good transition point. Do trainers make so little money? Well, what's your guys' experience been?
So, in a sense, if we're talking, it's all relative, right? I mean, what is a lot of money to you? What is a lot of money to somebody else? It's really, truly all relative to what your goals are, what you want to accomplish. Do you want to be a full working trainer at all times of the day? So, in my opinion, trainers that work at box gyms, it is absolutely not worth the income that is presented. I think that for the amount of time that you spend in, the amount of education that you put into yourself, into your craft, and that even means the time you spend working out yourself, right? So all that time is you working on your craft to better your education and your knowledge on these things. And so when somebody is paying you, anywhere between $25 to even, I'll say $40 an hour, which is probably on the higher end of things, to me, that is absolutely not worth it in working with a regular gym. Now, in my opinion, the only way to be successful financially in the world of fitness is to do it on your own. And whether that be starting a business, whether that be a traveling trainer, an entrepreneur trainer, a online coach, or even an influencer on social media or YouTube or whatever, I think that is your best chance at making an actual profit off of this living, because when you're living in for somebody else's business, right, a large percentage of that income that you could be making is going straight to their pockets and that gyms.
All right, so Aaron's going to lose all of his employees tomorrow. Tyler, how about you?
All right. Well, I'm gonna blow Aaron's mind a little bit because, all right, so the box gym idea is great because when I was interviewing to go back into a box gym, I was like looking at like what was going to be the pay scale. So, depending on if you're in California, like we all are, or if you're somewhere else, if you're in New York or if you're in Minnesota, of course, pay structure is going to be a little bit different, right? $40 if you're up in Idaho because of, how expensive it is to live up there. That's a good freaking paycheck actually coming into somebody for an hourly cost, especially for something that, yes, it's tasking, but it's better than, I don't know, being a busser.
Right, but I would imagine in Idaho it's probably not that much, right? Because personal training is probably cheaper in a sense, right? So instead of $100 to $120 a session that we'll charge, most businesses are probably charging, I don't know, 60 to 70, and then
balances.
Right,
Well,
and then they're gonna give you, let's just say you get a 50% split, which is probably generous. That's still only $30, $40 a session.
Yep. Well, when I was up in Idaho, here's the thing that blew my mind when I was trying to interview, because this was during the pandemic, and I was like trying to get out of the landscaping stuff. Is I interviewed for a spot, and they said that they're going to pay me $8.50 an hour for my downtime. Like that's their minimum wage, and I was just like, under $10. Like,
Wow.
never in my lifestyle would I ever. Can you guys match me at somewhere around like 23? And they're like, whoa, all right, there, big time. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, like I'm getting the fuck out of Idaho.
I'm like, yep, training is never gonna happen up here for me, at least at a gym. But all right, so so we talk about like my experience at F45, right? F45 was paying me $35 an hour to teach group fitness classes for 6 hours, and you're expending a lot of energy. You're being very, you're putting a lot into that, and so that wasn't enough of a high ticket value to keep me. Somebody with my experience, but somebody who's new, that could be helpful, is getting a lot of repetitions in. So there's always a place for training in there. But if we're talking personal training, so 24-hour fitness, a place that's, a regularly known box gym, when I was looking at their pay scale, $57 an hour for when you're in a training session, which that's a pretty good price. I worked in construction, and when I was working for my brother and I was doing labor for 8 hours a day, I was making $32 an hour.
So I'm gonna say yes, per session that is a decent amount to be paid. But the problem is you're required to spend those extra hours there making minimum wage and balance those two out from when you're actually in session to not in session. And now all of a sudden that average becomes like $32, $33 a session. So I believe that if you're out on your own making even $57 is fine, because all that extra time that you're going to have is to be building your business, to be building your name, your profit. So that's the only thing, is like you have to spend all those extra hours at such a low pay scale. It's like, does it really, it equals out to such crap.
Well, think about the $57 an hour guy that's going out and doing it on his own. Well, he's got a 90% chance of failing. across the board. And independent trainers are all factored into that $47,000 a year. So you're talking about all the guys that do own the studio gyms. Like, we're all included in that $47,000 a year. So I do think we have to understand that the average person that starts a business, one, fails no matter what. But in fitness, you have a higher likelihood of failing. And even if you do succeed, I mean, making past $100,000 is a very rare thing in the fitness world. I mean, like, how many trainers do you guys know that make six figures? I mean, outside of like the three of us.
No, I agree 100%. I think that, again, it's really just, do you want to build something for yourself? Or is there growth, right? Like, if you're making $57 an hour, great. If that's your limit to how much money you're capable of making, are you okay with that? Right? For me, it's a hell no, right? Like, for me, I want to be making not just 6 figures, 7 figures. I'm not going to be making that, doing a $57 an hour gig where that's going to be the most I'm going to be paid. And so for me, that's where things go on to getting out on your own, because there's so many avenues in our industry, whether it be online, whether it be social media, whether it be OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. Whatever you decide to do, right? There is a lot of ways to make money out there on your own. Maybe stay in that box gym, but think about other avenues of that can help expand your reach.
The baseline of the question though is like, is the personal training field going to develop the wealth that's necessary? And it depends on where you want to do, right? Everybody who runs a small business, as you've known, there is heavy risk that goes behind that. Liability for being sued, you're constantly having to run advertising. There's more of a headache than a guy like myself, who I've gone to now this gym that's a very nice, good gym, but I'm bringing an energy that's beyond, just an average trainer who's going to go in and, he's going to spend his open hours going, man, I'm only making this much, versus me who's like, yeah, I'm making $20 an hour during these hours, but my schedule is going to get filled. I know I'm going to fill that schedule. I know I'm going to cap out, and I know where my career path is going to go, and I know exactly where I wanted to get. And if I can get to, where I want, and that's going to probably cap out at 100,000 or 120K based on the figures I've kind of laid out with this gym. I'm like, if I get to 120K for me, that's a boost in lifestyle, man. That's great. That's good living for me. I could sustain. I can do everything I want to do. My goals are just to help people, not just in the gym, but in the AA program. So if I can do this and get to that point, yeah, I'll reconsider and ready for that next level step of that
Correct.
7-figure.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's all relative. Once again, it's kind of all the choice of how you want your lifestyle to be. But even more so, I think that you have to decide what your risk to reward is. I think that's a big thing, is if, like you said, based off of this gym, they're going to fill your schedule basically for you. They're going to bring in the members. You're not going to have to do the dirty work to get them. You're not going to have to spend the money to get them. You're not going to be liable if one of them gets hurt. So again, it's that risk versus reward, right? Because for me, it's the opposite, right? I want to do all those things so I get all of the benefit from it, and my gym gets to see the growth of what the hard work that I'm putting in versus basically living out somebody else's dream of building their facility. So again, it's all relative. It really just depends on what your short-term and long-term goals really are.
All right, let's go ahead and reframe it back towards the newer trainer, more kind of going that aspect of things. Because we do kind of have to think about it that, again, the average person isn't going to start their own gym. They're never going to own a facility. The average person is never going to make above 6 figures. The average person doesn't have this long, drawn-out career path. Like, they started working at a gym not because they have this idea of learning and education and multiple years of experience like Tyler has. They're going in there and they have this dream, this idea that they're going to walk in there with big old biceps and get a bunch of clients and be able to make their millions. So I think we have to kind of frame the conversation towards that type of person. It's like, to me, we start talking about my world and spending an hour in a box gym. Sounds like hell. Like that, the idea of me going back in that direction, I would really rather hit my hand with a hammer. So I think we kind of have to take our own way of looking at things and the way that where we're at right now, which we're all pretty far along in our career. So in terms of making a high-end income from personal training, what would you say for what a high-end income for personal training and working in the field would be? And let's just go ahead and get the influencers out of the equation here, because that ain't real.
Yeah, I think if you're starting back to, the knowledge of the people that I remember at Lifetime, I think reaching, first off, I mean, $70,000 to $80,000 was very high end, and for those that are in the six figures, it was like one out of the entire group, right? So I think that realistically, shooting between like $50,000 to $70,000 a year is pretty reasonable for somebody that's in the industry.
It's a reasonable number.
I feel good about that. I feel like we could probably shoot higher for like people that are, of course, a part of our group of trainers. Of course, shoot higher, but like everybody else, like
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely could understand that, but I mean, most people who are trainers, and I've seen this a lot of the times, they're not just doing personal training; they have second jobs. So that's where that extra income is. They kind of try to float towards that 80 or above. I know many trainers that have a bar backing job, mostly in the restaurant or service industry, or they have something on the back end that they're also doing on top of their schedule. And that's just because economically, if you want to afford rent, housing, have a car payment, and have all this life, like you have to put in that little extra work, because training, it's very flexible. If you're in a box gym and you're new, just recognize like your schedule might be full for 1 month. And then the next month, you better be ready to just at least float by or have enough money in the savings. Because if 4 clients drop out that are twice a week, you're down now 60 sessions. Like, it can be pretty...
It is a very volatile industry. I mean, we follow the natural dynamics of what people do, right? It's people care about the way they look and how they feel when things get close to summer. They don't necessarily care that much about it like back in February and March. It follows a general evolution throughout the year of people having interests in what they want. And that's one of those things that trainers just need to, we got to be better about as an industry, and planning for there to be these dead times for financially. We're thinking not just, all right, am I going to make rent this month? But like, all right, what's the quarter going to look like? Thinking more macro financially, I think would probably be a very good thing.
I think for me, if you're in the personal training world, yes, it's kind of a sexy job and people enjoy like the clout of being a trainer, but clout's not going to pay your bills, let me tell you. So I truly believe that if you're in the personal training world, it should be to be further bettering yourself with something within the industry. And what that looks like is up to you, whether that be going out and starting your own business, whether that be learning the anatomy of the body so you can get into something more like a physical therapist. I just think that, like you guys said, there's just so much up and down in the fitness industry that it's just going to be inconsistent, and I don't see it being your long-term go-to. I mean, who knows? Maybe your goal is to manage the facility, right? And so I just think that if you are in the personal training world, there should be something in the back of your mind on what you're trying to accomplish while being in this world, because it's not going to be something that you're going to sustainably do. Both physically, I mean, you're bound to burn out when you're in your 40s or 50s. You're not going to stay consistent as a personal trainer, right? And so there just needs to be a backup plan. So make sure that you guys are working towards that while working through the training.
I would agree with that. Any pathway that you take, there has to be a future thing, something that you're thinking about, whether it is starting your own facility or working your way into management. That's a fantastic point to make, because anybody that's worked as a trainer for more than 5 years, you just start hurting.
It's abusive.
Oh my God, you're like one of the fittest people on the goddamn planet, and you just feel like you're getting broken daily.
I ask myself that every day. I'm like, I take such good care of my body, workout every day, and I hurt more than probably most. It's like, yeah, man, eventually working those long days of 8-9 sessions in a day, lifting weights, demonstrating exercises. So it's just have a backup plan on where you want to take this, because financially it's not worth the beat, right? $50,000 to $70,000 is not worth abusing your body. Like you hear about athletes that are getting paid millions, and they're like, oh, well, I'm putting my body through so much. Okay, well, so are we, and you're not getting paid jack shit. So I truly believe that there's got to be a smarter route than staying in the industry of fitness.
Yeah, I want to talk to 2 key points that came up in my head when we were talking about the ideas of, one, finances, and the exception to the idea of the age taking control and that you should be there. Number one, when I was going in this last year at this gym, I had one focus in mind, right, when it came to my financials. That was at the end of the year, because I had a savings account that was completely depleted. It was down to like literally having 1,000 left in my savings account because of an issue where I had a credit card on file for my previous company, and I was running up the Amazon card up to like $4,000 and then had to pay that off before I left the company. So I was like down broke, and I was, paying, I got a house mortgage, I got the car, and I was coming into a new field as a new trainer. So I'm like, okay, I gotta be able to have a goal in mind. And that was at the end of the year, I want $10,000 in my savings account. So that means whatever with my travel plans, whatever was going on in my lifestyle, is that no matter what, I was saving and increasing, and at the end of the year, I'd hit 10,000. And I did. I reached that goal. And now the goal this year is to double what I saved last year. So my goal is to save 20,000, right? Is I have a financial plan in order and set, and that is just outside of just the idea of working for a box gym. Like my long-term goal is to get to $50,000, take that money, buy a second property in like either Texas or Reno, and be able to rent that out so I have a steady income.
Exactly my point, right? Planning something for ahead, right? So using your money to make money.
Yeah. And the second point where I was talking about the guy in Marin, I'm going to literally give him the title because I heard about him so much before I even moved to this spot. Of course, I'm at a private gym versus the idea of like a regular box gym. It's only one facility. But, right, this guy, he's above 40 years old. He is an iconic trainer is how he was described to me. And he's super humble, really amazing. And he works around the clock. I see him from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. at night. Just as me, like he's there and he's been training for like over 20 years. He loves what he does, and he's just super busy. And where his pay scale is definitely not where I am as a brand new trainer at this facility, right? He's definitely gotten some bumps and boosts that keep him there because he's known all around Marin. And so this is, at some point, if you did not want to go out and do your thing, if you can find happiness and find that number that works for you, there's a way to make it into your life because I've seen it.
I love that. And so, okay, I want to ask a question to both of you. And this is just to prove how relative really everything is. So first off, my question to you guys, and you're listening to three pretty credited people here, is what is a number that works for you yearly to make income wise? And what is that number? And not your dream, right? Not some fantasy land. What is a number that you are okay making per year that's going to be worth that position for you?
As a personal trainer?
Just in general, to live your lifestyle that you want. What is a yearly rate that is okay for you?
North of 400.
North of 400, man, dude. All right, that was you got a pretty good lifestyle. It definitely wants to take some trips across the world and go travel for a few months.
Oh, dude, I want to do everything.
What about you, Tyler?
All right, for my lifestyle and what I like to do, like where I'm at, I'm thinking about 85.
Okay.
8,500. Like
okay.
$85,000. Yeah, I could live the lifestyle.
So I like this because we have both spectrums, right? We have one that's more modest. We have one that's, you know what I mean? He wants to accomplish, the world. I'm with Ryan too, right? Mine's that number too. But that's why I went into the owning my own business is because that's my dream as well. But okay, so let me ask you this: do you guys want kids?
It's not on the plans.
So this is what I'm talking about. Is so now you have to start trading in your money that you're making for the time that you're putting in. Yes, that trainer that you're talking about might be making great money. Maybe he's making $120,000. But from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., if this man wants a family, when the fuck's he going to see him, right? So for me, it's more about now, what do I want to accomplish? And are those funds going to open up my availability of time to be able to accomplish other things?
Right. So it'd be your value spectrum behind. Like, what's your lifestyle beyond just like having a nice car or being able to pay rent or whatever like that? It's like,
right. So it's what kind of life
do I have kids? Do
exactly.
I want to travel?
What kind of life do you want to live? And not only is the finances going to support that life, but how much time do you have to invest into making that kind of money, right? So for me, my goal is to eventually be making money when I'm not having to be there, when I'm not having to do shit, right? Like I run the system and I have people who run my system for me at some point. And that's because of the life I want to live, right? I do want to have kids. I do want to get married. I want to make sure that I can spend my time with them. And so I'm just bringing up for personal training. Yes, it is available to make that kind of money out there, but it's going to take an insane amount of your time.
You do have to balance it out from, I do think you have to work backward from what you want your career to be. That's something that, for those of you guys listening at home, if you are in that first few years of your training career, the big takeaway from this is it's okay to first go work anywhere you want to go work in any pathway that your personal training career is going to start. But then you should be reverse engineering from the back end where you want to go. Like, yep. Aaron and me, like, we have this aspiration of, I mean, I'm okay with saying it. I want to make about $50 to $100 million a year. Like, that's like my congratulations. You could hang up the cap. Like,
correct.
You have done enough. You've gone far enough.
And you know, it's funny because it sounds like a delusion. It sounds fake. It sounds like something that's not real, but it isn't until it is, right? And so for me, it's like I love the mindset of the closed mindset on some people because it allows me to want to push mine even further, right? And so basically what I wanted to get by with you guys is that you're totally able to make that kind of money one day, and you don't have to settle yourself as a personal trainer making $50,000 to $70,000 a year unless that fits the lifestyle that you want to live.
Hey, there it is. That's our clip right there. I like that.
At a certain level, you have to ask yourself, if you're there and you've been at a box gym for 2 years and you've really put in the hours, you feel like you've expanded your knowledge, you got enough repetitions, and I would definitely say like that would be a point. If your career path is not to work in a gym, do exactly what Aaron is saying. Whether that means that you're going to have to find your own liability insurance, go out on your own, start training people that, if you've been training, you have a client list that will stick with you at their houses.
Or you'll make new ones. I mean, shit, when I started out on my own, I started training at apartments. I started training at the beach. I started training at parks. Like, you'll find your own places to coach people. And I think the big thing for me is that money worth, I mean, okay, so I think Tyler will have a better experience than we both will, Ryan, but I'll ask you guys, how much were you respected at the facilities that you worked at, right? Like, to me, every facility I ever worked at, I was so under-respected for the value that I thought I brought. And so that, to me, already isn't worth the money that personal training gives, right? If it was a different world and I was treated with respect and my education was actually being, enjoyed and useful, then maybe the money's worth it because you're happy with where you're at. But so that's another thing you got to think about is who are the people that you're working for that are paying your bills, and is that a situation you want to be in?
Dude, I would 100% still be working at Lifetime, making $130 a year. Today, that I would still probably be in.
You were making $130 a year at Lifetime?
Oh yeah, doing program coordinating and team development stuff.
I mean, so management though.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because as a trainer, I didn't make anything close to that. As a trainer,
I was doing maybe 80, 90, but that was
it's better than I was.
I gotta be honest with you, I never had more than a 20 to 25 hour a week training book. I spent most of my time at Lifetime trying to climb the corporate ladder and very little time
you definitely did
training.
You're suckling at the teat, that's for sure.
Dude, that's 100% what it was. It was, for lack of a better way of putting it, bending over and getting told on repeat, I am the most valuable trainer, but you're too valuable for us to lose. It's like, wait, no, that is not what I want to be.
Yeah, so it sounds like I'm shitting on the training world. I kind of am. I think that
you 100% are.
I'm not gonna lie. I think that there's just I think that as your professional, the professionals that we are and the professionals that you are that are listening to this, there is not enough respect. There's not enough money. There's not enough reason or motivation to stay in it without chasing something much bigger. And so that was just my experience, and that is why I opened up my own facility. And everybody has different experience.
Right. So you got like a guy like me where I could talk about my experiences at the 4 different gyms I've worked at before the one I'm at, right? And besides the last gym, right, I can say I was respected at the last gym. When I walked in after a month, everybody was like, dude, this guy's setting a whole new tone. Like, cleaning equipment, setting up booths. Like, I was well respected on the fitness floor very fast. And I didn't ever ask for a raise because I never made it to a year. I was making exactly what I needed to live, made my savings goal. Everything that I was working towards was fine. I had complete autonomy over my schedule. But if I were to go back to the first 2 facilities where I started training, the first place I was respected in a sense that I didn't respect them either. I came in fresh out of college. I spent a lot of my time partying. I was there. Sometimes I'd be sick. Like, I was not a human, who is ready for the personal training field, where you need to be 100% all in. You have to know who yourself is. Like, that's not who I was. I didn't bring that. Or at Lifetime, right? I didn't bring my full self. I was enjoying the outside influences versus trying to really work towards what was my goals and careers. And that's the self-finding state that you kind of find in these box gyms, and that love and passion. And here's one thing, Aaron. So you talked about, like, what's the big values to you, right? It's the family. It's, the outside life that you want from the gym. Look at who you're talking to right now, right? You created this friendship with Ryan. I know Ryan through Lifetime. We wouldn't have the relationship we have right now if not have worked for a gym and met people that we could say are now our closest friends.
Accurate.
So
We're friends.
Well,
Stretch, Tyler.
you know,
You're like only my roommate, and like I've only like hung out with you like I don't know, a couple hundred times, but like friends is.
And travel, like, think on that scale for somebody who is coming into a gym and they don't have any of the social circle. They don't have a social circle around the idea of trainers or knowing where to ask questions. Like, they don't have that. And if just going to a box gym for even just a year can create those relationships, like I knew Ryan for 7 or 8 months before I ditched out a Lifetime. But it felt like we felt like I spent like 3 years living with those guys because of the memories we created.
Absolutely.
So there's value there that's beyond the ticket price of the $50,000, because you're going to have a relationship with people for a lifetime. If you find a good facility with people that you can respect and you think that they're going to be of the same age. Lifetime was a whole different beast back then. We had like 20, 30 trainers, hiring 2 or 3 trainers per month. It was crazy
40.
with the volume. Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, the gym there was like, it felt like I was at a frat. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it was more the particular people that were there than gym environments, but most gyms are that way.
Yeah, again, I think it all comes down to what kind of life you just want to live, right? So, I mean, when you're working in a gym, do you want a social life, guys? Yeah, working for a big box gym, you're going to have a social life. Honestly, I mean, you're talking to somebody who does not have a fucking social life because all he does is works on his business. And so, again, you have to weigh your pros and cons and then decide what you really want. But back to the money thing, I personally I feel so bad for coaches because they deserve so much more, right? How much you have built yourself, your character, like what training does to you as a person, right? The mindset it gives you, the ability to help others achieve the same things. You literally make a room better just by fucking walking into it and speaking your experience. And so for me, that is worth so much more than what is paid out into box gyms.
It comes back to the ownership, right? The ownership of the gym. Somebody like you, the people that work underneath you, do you feel like those people feel like, oh, this place is terrible? I want to leave? I want to go do my own thing. I'm not making enough money.
Not at all. But I make sure my coaches, they're valued in a sense of financially and in respect.
Right. So the best experience that comes for people who own gyms or own a facility that can be for trainers is somebody who was a trainer.
Correct.
And has experienced
100%.
that.
Correct.
100%. The best owners of gyms, bar none, are trainers. And a training business goes to hell when your executive and higher up team shifts out from being mostly fitness-oriented people to mostly business-oriented people. That's what 24-Hour Fitness did.
I think it's exactly it. Yep.
Crunch, every gym.
Because you know the other side,
right?
That route. You know the other side. You know the negatives that are hiding behind what it takes to be a regular trainer, and so you can make those better for your coaches. Whether that be changing their availability, allowing them to have more say in it, the pay structure, the availability. Like my trainers, they run their own business like within mine, right? Like I allow them to make final decisions. Fuck, you decide what you want to charge. I'm not going to tell you what to charge. If you think you're worth only $70 a session, then fine. If you think you're worth $150, fucking great. So I give them complete range to make them feel like they are more than just a dollar sign for the gym.
Yeah, the opposite of that would be like a facility where people basically pay into it. Like, hey, you pay $1,500. This is your rental to have the space
Correct.
and run your own business.
Correct.
You have a whole different ownership over
Yeah,
your
so that's literally you pay me rent and stay out of my way and basically use my facility. I'm not gonna. Yeah. Then it's just a contract of rent, and that's how most studios are designed, especially out here in Orange County. But I wanted to accomplish something way more successful than that. I wanted to build a team-based atmosphere while giving trainers the free range on their decision making.
Yeah, like the owners of my gym, like one of the co-owners, right? He's the guy that I really connected with back in the day when I was at Sonoma Fit, the smaller gym in Sonoma where I didn't do too hot, but he was a really good influence at the time. He was a trainer, and then he moved into actually designing gym floors, and he designed for schools and for Sonoma Fit, and was a consultant as a manager for the fitness team. And then, now, fast forward 8 years later, he opened up this wellness facility that's private tier, that's top level in Marin.
Love
and
it.
when he walks in the door in the morning, he's not the owner that just like walks in and it's the front desk doesn't matter. He walks in, he says hi to the front desk. First thing he does, he goes to the coffee table, fixes stuff, cleans, wipes it down, looks underneath, grabs a couple pieces of garbage and throws it away, and then asks everybody, hey, how's your day? How you feeling today? And he's like very genuine.
Yep.
And it's because he has that essence of knowing what it's like to be a trainer.
Yeah, that's
or
the kind
not
of
even that.
That's the
beyond
kind of
that.
person that you want to work for or work even with. So yes, it all really does depend. It sounds like Tyler's had a better experience working for places that actually gave him the respect that he deserves and makes maybe getting paid a little bit less worth it, which is important, right? So I mean, again, I mean, I'm sure he would prefer to be making $100 to $120 an hour himself, but that's not in the cards at one of those gyms. And
No, you just
Money is
Well, I gotta
not
qu-
an object for me when it comes to that. There is a ticket price, there is a ticket number, right?
and see, that's the beautiful thing, and that's what I mean by it's all relative. Because for Tyler, it's money is not the main objective. And I think for me and Ryan, it is not in a sense that we're greedy and want a bunch of money. I think that we both have very big aspirations, and it's going to take a bunch of money, right? I think we're both entrepreneurs at heart, and we want to create. I mean, that's not a cheap world.
Well, I can summarize both of you guys both in one thing. You guys want to help as many people as possible, and
It's
to
about
do that
the reach.
requires the income to do it.
Correct.
That's 100% it. The whole social media thing, the dollars, all of that, they're just shuttles and tools.
And
How can you help the most people?
I think me and Ryan are very similar in a sense of, yes, that's it. We want to reach as many people as we can, but we also want to reach them to teach them that what's out there is all kind of fucking bogus, right? The people that they're hearing it from is all kind of shit talkers who have no idea what the fuck they're saying. They just look good, and they are marketing the wrong material to the universe, to the people that, people are going to buy it, and they're going to end up using this wrongful information. So I think me and Ryan both, that's our reach, is we want to reach people, but more so we want to put things into the honest truth of what, how to get people healthy.
Well, I would say that's Tyler too, right? I mean, now I'm just being everybody's best friend, but
You guys are so good at what you do. I love you guys.
oh yeah, no, but it's that whole element of it's the difference of what you're entrepreneur or are you someone who is completely passion driven. Yes, you do have to be passion driven to be an entrepreneur and to be successful here, but like for instance, Aaron, if you could throw it all away and go make a modest living, but go work in a lab somewhere that would create something in 50 years that's going to go ahead and revolutionize the fitness space, are you going to do it? No. Like,
No.
as sucky as that is to say,
Absolutely.
as much as I want to believe I would,
No.
I'm not.
I wouldn't
I'm
trade it
sorry,
for
I'm
any.
not the guy.
I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Exactly. Versus Tyler, I really do feel if he was given the opportunity to go work on something at minimum wage and go create something that's going to change the world in like 30 years,
Yeah, I think he'd buy it.
I think dead ass Tyler's quitting and moving tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, Tyler's all about passion. He's all about, improvement. And I don't think finances isn't the all around say all for him.
But I think it's important as a trainer to know what part of that matters most to you. Like, I'm like you, Aaron. I don't really have a social life from the aspect of this is what I do. This is what I want to do.
Exactly. It's not even like, oh, I'm working. It's like, no, I fucking love this. Like,
Dude,
I'd rather do
messaging
this.
Tommy back and forth last night at like 1 a.m, going like jazzed to still be working.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I got
but
a question for you,
yeah.
guys, before we kind of wrap this up, because we are kind of hitting our time mark. And this is to kind of play devil's advocate, because I do like gym owners too, where it's not just about personal trainers. I kind of put them all into the same thing. So even the guys that own the big box gyms, they're still kind of my people. So do you think, God, what was my question before? It was, do gyms employ trainers to help with profit or to help with attrition?
100% attrition.
Yep.
It depends. I mean, if you're running a personal training studio, absolutely, you're hiring them for profit. I mean, it's the only way to make profit. But if you're hiring them for a big box gym, you're just trying to keep your members happy and in the gym, right? Because membership is where, and retention is where gyms make money, right? And so, did I answer the question?
No, you did.
Okay.
And Tyler, I assume you're going to parrot that, right?
Yeah. Well, no.
No? Oh, what do you got?
No, not at all. So, like the gym I'm at, it's a private gym. It's not a box gym in the sense, so it is a gym in the sense. But the scale of how they're able to actually have their trainers versus the open availability hours, they work diligently to fill these people's hours, so do not have a lot of hours to take off. Plus, after my 90-day period, I'll only be allotted to have 5 hours that I can spend for the open availability hours. So you're on a scale to push yourself, because they don't pay out a lot of hours. Like after a certain period, it's like, hey, we've done your lead gen. You had 90 days. It's on your own. We will fill consults for you, but outside of that, you're limited, right? You're part-time in that sense, or you can work up to 40 hours. If you push hard and you get yourself going, then you can have a full schedule and you'll be making a big ticket, and they're making over half. That's a lot of money, and plus they're capped on the size of their gym. They have gone past their gym limit. So now they have to.
Do they do memberships or no?
Memberships.
So
yes.
there is just a walk-in clients. I mean, not clients, like members and things like that. Not just clients.
At this point, they are not even allowing people to use guest passes because their gym is at a cap. It's reached a point where somebody came in, I saw them at the front desk, and they're like, hey, my friend's here, they want to work out. And they said, sorry, we're not allowing guests.
Okay, so they have a lot of people. What do they charge? What do they charge per membership?
$349.
So that's their prime bread and butter right there.
Right.
Tyler, I'm sorry, man. I'm going to butt heads with you on this one. You guys are 100% there for that gym to keep their members. 100%.
Well, it's all that matters. They by them buying a personal trainer, they're more likely going to stay long term and continuously paying that $350. You multiply 350 times however many people are in that gym,
$1,700.
That's a fuck ton of money, right?
About $4.5 million.
And I bet you that the personal training amount coming into that gym is not even 10% of that.
Oh, shit.
So,
Lifetime was doing like 3% profit margin.
They didn't give a fuck about us because they're all about memberships.
$1,000 a month reoccurring on our total budget, making 3% lifetime was.
Yeah.
Right.
No wonder they don't care about us.
Think about how they ran their trainers, though. You were a full-time employee. They paid health insurance. They had a lot of things that they're paying on top of that.
Correct.
Plus, they had plenty of people taking open hours because you had to be there for the 8 hours. So this business model, let's say you have the CAPS gym, right? You have your members, and you can't take on any more members. Are you going to stop at the 4.5, or how do you get more reach? How do you get up beyond the $5 million, $6 million? Well, you offer services that are in your gym membership.
Right.
You get the high list, A-list trainers like myself. Everybody else there has multiple years of experience.
But
I'm
you gotta
learning from some of the best.
But you got to think, like, membership rise, right? I mean, they mainly just have to. The overhead is so small compared to the overhead of paying you guys. Like when they pay trainers, you're making 50% of what they're bringing in. They're not even making everything from that a personal training can profit for them, right? So, I mean, it is true. Services is their other avenue. It's what other buckets essentially can you pour into? Supplements, right? A cafe, if they have a cafe. These are all things that, yes, it's an extra bucket for them to pour in, but it is just one of many. And unfortunately, yeah, they got to pay you guys a pretty penny to keep you there, right?
Well, let's say there's about 8 or 9 trainers right now, right? Let's say each one of them, they work diligently to fill their schedule. So now we have 10K trainers. Each one of them, we'll just give an average of that.
So let's call it
a number simple.
Let's call it $100,000.
$80,000 per every 10 months. Let's round that up. $960,000. We've got almost $1 million. We divide that in half because they're making about half. We've got $450,000 that this business adds in additional revenue per year for these trainers. That's a pretty good size.
Wait. So that's perfect. That was exactly the math I wanted, because you said $450,000 a year. Well, you said the business and memberships is about $4.5 million, right? Isn't that what we just said? So that's 10%, right?
10%. I mean, a 10% increase. If I get 10% increase on my bench press, that's a freaking huge increase.
Right, of course, but it's not their bread and butter, right? Their bread and butter is they want to keep members in the door. How do they do that? They put a pretty guy like you in front of them to enjoy their time with, and that's how they're going to keep you happy.
Think about it, though. That 450, 10% of it out the window is immediately for business taxes.
Wait a minute. Yeah, we didn't even take in consideration paying the trainers.
It's across the board.
That was it.
Yeah, no, the 450 was that, but you're looking at $450,000, and yes, that's a big chunk of money, but you scale it against a business that size, it's not really that much. And then when you start whittling away at it, because having employees costs taxes, hiring a trainer, you're going to go ahead at lifetime. It was something like $15,000 for every person we hired, from the start to finish, just out the gate. And again, we weren't going to keep half of them past 9 months. So you were just wasting that $15,000, and they were never getting profitable. As great as having 10K trainers are, again, you could have all-stars. Like, think about the teams that we worked with. There were so many all-stars on there, but it meant fuck all nothing for how successful they were going to be. Like, so I hear what you're saying, and I'm by no means discounting that the gym you're working at right now isn't just star-spangled fucking awesome. But looking at P&L, pay and loss statements for gyms for so long, I've never seen one make good money. At best, they are a couple percentage points over their margin, and it's not even worth the fucking headache that's associated with every time your boss has to come talk to you. That's money. Every time they have to set a schedule, or someone's sitting on the phone or doing interviews where they're not hiring trainers, that $450,000 keeps getting whittled down further and further and further.
I see what you're saying. I definitely
so now it's
get
just at a
that
point
factor.
where you've got, like, all right, at the end of the year, great, you made $80,000 off of having these 10. Again, even if they're the best trainers in the world that I've ever met, half of them are going to be children, and they're going to cause headaches. And again, that $80,000 gets smaller. So.
Yep. Okay, I you got me. All right, you got me back on your side. I can understand that. It's more of like a service provided by the gym. Even if we were to eradicate, if every trainer was fired, like, hey, we're not going to do trainers anymore, that gym is still going to do financially.
But yes and no. I do think your service as a trainer is what keeps people there, right? Because because look at gyms like fucking, I don't know, $10 memberships, Planet Fitness and shit, right? People don't go. I mean, yes, they keep their membership because it's so cheap. So, I mean, maybe an LA Fitness or a 24-hour fitness, right? People cancel left and right because it's not worth the price because they're never showing up, right?
I think Planet Fitness is the wrong one because they don't even take credit. They go strictly off the idea of
that's their business model. Yeah,
that's their business model. Yeah. And like when I go to Planet Fitness, like there's one in Petaluma where I went because I was just tanning. I was using it as a tanning booth and massage bed.
Cheap, right? Yeah.
Super cheap.
Cheap way of doing it, bro.
Right? Yeah. When I went in there. Population, that gym was filled. That gym was being used and it was filled.
Yeah. But I do think, the service you provide is worth to them because you keep their members there.
Yeah, but Planet Fitness, they could lose all trainers. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, they operate on a model that half of their members will cancel multiple times in a year and then re-sign up. And most of their members will never walk into their gyms.
Crazy business fact about Planet Fitness. Their model is literally to chase people who are not going to show up to the gym. So what do? They take out the number one tool that people use that know what the fuck they're doing and that are going to show up to the gym. Barbells. There's no barbells in Planet Fitness. Why? Because they don't want people like us going, because they don't want a lot of people showing up. They want to oversell their membership and still have empty space in the gym, and nobody's going to cancel that membership because it's a fucking $10 a month membership, right?
Yeah.
Pretty wild,
Entrepreneur
pretty
loves that.
pretty fucking genius, honestly.
Oh no! Like as an entrepreneur, I love it. As an athlete and like a person with a pulse, I'm like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are terrible. But
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
well,
also
also the
take
fact
some-
that we're in this business to help people, that's literally the opposite of what they're trying to get people to not show up to the gym,
Dude,
right? Like,
100%. Okay. Well, we are getting towards our mark here, so I do want to kind of nice little bow on it. Before I do that, Aaron, Tyler, do you guys have any quick tips and tricks around trainers for capitalizing on their income depending upon where they might be or where they're working?
Tai.
You want me to go first? All right.
Sure.
Hey,
Aaron's like, oh shit, I got to think for a second. Tyler?
yeah.
I got my answer. I know.
No, my
you ain't
number-
gonna like it, but
My number one thing is to save money. As I know, even if you're making the $35 an hour, even if you're at that low ticket 47 and you're just getting into a gym, limit your expenses as much as you can. Meal prep, don't go spending money at lunches. Like, do what you need to do in order to save money, because if you do take these skills and you want to go like on Aaron's route, and you're financially set to, I wanted $10,000 because I could pay all my stuff off for 6 months and not have to work a day. I could go 6 months right now and become an entrepreneur, rush my butt off, and I know I'll be successful. I have no doubt in my mind. Like, with my mindset and where I can get, I could take clients, I'll put out ads, I'll find that. But it's not where I want. It's not my career path. I want freedom. I want to be able to be efficient in AA. I want no head stress. I want to sleep nice at night. Like, eventually, maybe I'll want to lose the sleep and become a little bit more stressed. Then I can start going on to that route. But save money and set a goal, whether it's $150 a month, whether it's $500, whatever you can do. Try to raise that ticket number and do not let yourself get below it.
yeah,
Some advice.
I think that's awesome advice. I think that's right on the money of what you should aim to do. I am gonna literally go the exact opposite route and say. So I think it's genius. I think that's a great route. I'm going to tell you what I did, and it worked for me. And you know what? I really think it's the way to get shit done is fucking plan your escape, but just fucking do it. Get out, be uncomfortable, fucking jump into the ocean and learn to swim. So you'll figure it out as you go. Right? So instead of planning until you're just stuck somewhere for so fucking long, in my mindset, it's more like, all right, I'm going to quit in 6 months no matter where I'm at, and I'm going to find a way. If I have to train somebody at their apartment, if I have to train somebody at the fucking beach, I'm going to make that work for as long as I need to get into my next step. And so for me, I just function better that way. I function better under high demanding stress versus peace of mind, because then you get comfortable. And for me, if I got too comfortable, I'd probably stay somewhere. So for me, it's get uncomfortable as fuck and then get out there and do something great. You
All
know what I
right,
mean?
so Aaron's advice is quit and go do something else. Great.
Correct. No, not something else. Not something else. Same thing. Just do it,
Somewhere else.
but do it for yourself.
I mean, you did need that extra push, though, right? You had a client who had an open space and gave you the opportunity. So also to remember,
Correct
it's
in a way.
Opportunities
Opportunities have to meet, but I was already designing my escape prior to that. And then whenever I got there, it was nothing, right? It was literally a place where there was a bunch of boxes. And that was it.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to be able to accept those opportunities as they come. Same thing with the beach workouts. I started training a group fitness on the beach, did that for 6 months, and then turned those people into a group fitness at my facility, right? So it's really about, yes, the opportunity has to arise, but take any opportunity you get and learn to be uncomfortable with the unknown.
Be uncomfortable with the unknown. I think that might be it. Okay. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. The kind of bow to put on this whole guy is it's okay for you to start wherever you're going to start in your career and wherever you are. Spend time working at it, but start thinking about where you ultimately want to be. If that's working at a gym, understand what that's going to look like for you long term. Being a frontline personal trainer is never going to be a pathway towards success and this massive level of income, but it might equal out what success equals for you. That might be you having the work-life balance that you want. That might be you being able to spend time with the kids the way you want. Or it could be like Aaron and mine's personal hell. It's entirely up to you to make your career and what it'll be. There are things you can do to make it the best it'll be, and it's just going to require a little bit of planning and a little bit of you looking towards the future and working your way back to figure out where you want to be. All right, guys. I hope you found the episode enjoyable. Give us a like, comment, and subscribe if you could. And we will catch you here in the next one. Love you.